Why Not? A queer podcast.
Thank you to our sponsor, Pineapple Healthcare, an award-winning primary care clinic right here in Orlando.
Pineapple Healthcare offers mental health counseling, HIV, STI testing and treatment, and specializes in care for the LGBTQ plus community.
Open Monday through Saturday. Call today at 407-553-6336 and schedule your appointment.
Pineapple Healthcare. Better together.
Hey, everybody. I'm Rick Todd.
And I'm Jeremy Williams, and you're listening to Wine,
Why Not? A queer podcast.
episode 88.
We did that like we were professionals.
I know. We're almost through the 80s.
Yeah. I'd like to say welcome to our new listeners. We usually get about, 3,000 new listeners.
Ooh. Do we?
I don't know. I think we're going to get 3.
Maybe. Oh, okay.
I talked this up. So We'll see.
Nice. Well, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
I hope we don't disappoint you.
Jeremy's enjoying a nice glass of wine,
I am.
and I am not.
It has been a week where I've needed a glass of wine.
It has been a week where I could use a glass of wine, and based on what you were talking about, I think I could use a bottle.
Before we do get into what is causing us both to drink, I have some 1988 facts in honor
So
of
do
our
I.
88. Okay, so this particular band actually got started in 1986, but they hit it big I feel like Casey Kasem, but they hit it big in 1988. Here
So you're about
is
to do a long distance dedication.
with their hit, I heard it through the grapevine, the California Raisins. California Raisins, I heard it through the grapevine commercial got released in 1988, and they became pop culture phenomenon.
Is okay, but the name of the band isn't actually.
No. The actual California Raisins, they released the commercial. I heard it through the grapevine, came out like in the 60s.
But that's like the Commodores or something, right?
Yeah,
Or the
like the 60s or 70s. But this commercial and the California Raisins version entered the Billboard Top 100s because of the commercial.
wow.
Yeah. So good for you, Raisins. For those who are too young to know what the California Raisins are, they were like little claymation raisins that sang and danced, encouraging you to eat more raisins. And it worked.
Yeah.
Now raisins are everywhere. In our potato salad, in our oatmeal cookies.
I'm gonna say this. I hope my mother isn't listening to this.
Oh my God,
podcast.
does she put raisins in her potato salad?
No, listen. I hope she's not, because she put raisins in everything.
Really?
But it was because my dad
Was a California raisin?
He had. Aw. Well, aren't they all raisins now?
Oh, that's true.
Aw.
That's true.
We'll all get there. We're all going to be California raisins at some point. But no, because my dad had a restricted diet, and he liked sweet things, but he wasn't allowed to eat sweet things.
Oh.
So she would put raisins in things, and I was like, "What are you doing? Raisins don't belong here." I would get why are we eating raisins?
I don't know why, and I'm not going to speak for all white people, but I'm pretty sure it's mostly white people. I don't know what our obsession with putting raisins in everything is. Because they're not good.
Who was the first person to drop raisins into bran flakes and think, "Hey,
Right?
this is gonna be good"? Were they from California?
Yeah, two scoops.
They make weird things over in California, don't they?
They do, and they love their raisins. They have a band named after them.
A popular 1988 band.
Since we're talking slogans and advertising, the 88 was also the first year that Nike used the slogan "Just Do It,"
And they just did it,
and they just kept
and
doing
they're
it.
again. They're still. They should change it to still do it.
Yeah, still doing it since 1988.
Do you think that there was a break off of followers of Nike and followers who went the Shia LaBeouf route when he became the Just Do It guy, or the Do It guy? Because he dropped the Just.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there is a generational divide. Who now, when you hear "Just Do It," they're like, "Oh, that's Shia LaBeouf. That Nike stole it from him." No, they didn't, kids. He stole it from Nike.
I know this wasn't your intention, but I think you just did an impression of Ryan.
Did I?
Sorry, Ryan.
Hope you're not listening. So yeah, so slow.
No, it's just
Do It
like
came out?
he and I are the generational divide. Like
Yeah.
I'll see somebody in some show, and I'm like, "Oh, that's so and so from this," and then he's like, "No, it's from either a Marvel or a Disney movie." And when they were in something,
You know what popular one of that is? I was watching an interview with Kevin Smith, and he has a scene in Chasing Amy where Amy and the friend, Matt Damon's friend, played by Jason Lee, are comparing scars, and he said you could tell the generational divide because the younger kids were like, "Oh, that's an homage to Lethal Weapon 3," when Mel Gibson and Rene Russo compare scars. And the older ones are like, "No, that's from Jaws," which is where Lethal Weapon 3 is an homage to Jaws, because that's initially where they compare the bite wounds and the scars.
I would think that any young person listening to this podcast today would say that the only flaw in your story is that was older people and older people.
Oh yeah, younger kids have no idea what I'm talking about right now.
No, none of those movies.
Kevin Smith is the comic book guy whose daughter is in all those terrible cheesy horror films now.
Isn't he also
Kids.
Is he Silent Bob?
Yeah. Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
Do the kids know who Jay and Silent Bob are? I think there's recent movies, like recent within the past 5-10 years. He's still out there. He's still doing his thing. You know what I would love to do? I'd love to sit him down, have a drink, and find out what happened between him and Ben Affleck. Because like in the 90s and the early 2000s, they were like doing everything together. And then it was like one day, oh, we don't talk anymore. Was it J-Lo? I bet it was
But
J-Lo.
didn't Silent Bob always not talk?
I see what you did there.
Waited 38 seconds to make that crack.
Nice.
Do you know what the most popular baby names were in 1988?
I'm gonna, just because of around that age group of people that I know a lot of now, I'm gonna say Chris. I know a lot of Chris's around the late 80s, early 90s. They would have been born. And girls, I'm gonna say Emma or Emily.
Joshua.
Okay.
And Jennifer.
Oh, that Joshua Tree, U2's pop album came around that time, so that probably
And
had
Jennifer
something to do
8.
with it. And Jennifer 8 was a few years later, wasn't it? In the
I don't
90s?
know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Jennifer's Body? That was that was in the 2000s.
That makes me feel weird. Let's not talk about Jennifer's Body.
That's a good movie. You should check it out. It's got lesbian undertones. We could probably watch it for a Halloween podcast.
Is it a terrible movie? Because if so, we should.
It's not you know who Diablo Cody is?
I was just making a reference to the
That
fact
you haven't seen any good movies this year.
Yeah, we have to watch shitty movies all the time.
It didn't do well when it first came out, but it wasn't marketed
I feel like I've heard of it. Who's in it?
It's got Megan Fox and the blonde girl from Les Miserables and
I kind of
Mean Girls.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Why is her name is escaping me right now? Ted 2. But they're in it, and it's written by Diablo Cody, who wrote Juno, won an Oscar for the screenplay for that one, and it's like a zombie movie, but it's kind of a kitschy horror funny movie, but it's got that kind of Juno humor in it.
Oh, okay. I've not seen Juno either.
You haven't seen Juno?
But I will watch Juno, and then I will watch this movie so that I understand the humor.
Diablo Cody actually was an exotic dancer while she wrote Juno. And when she came to the Oscars, I was just like, she doesn't look like typical Hollywood. I dug it.
Juno is Michael Cera, right?
Yeah, Michael Cera and Elliot Page. And
I gotta say, it's weird.
Jennifer Gardner.
I kind of am attracted to Michael Cera.
Jason Bateman, he's in it. Really?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Chris, I think, is it Chris I'm thinking of? Yeah, I think Chris and I had that conversation. I think he finds him a little attractive too. I think he seems like a nice fella. He's just kind of weird. He's a weird looking fella.
Well, and he takes on weird roles too. Have you ever seen this Hulu show that he's in with Amy Schumer?
No.
He's just weird. He's a weird cat in it.
I feel like everything I've seen him in, he's basically the same person.
Well, this is totally different. I think he's on the spectrum in this one. But yeah, I mean, I did like him in. I watched a couple of episodes of Arrested Development.
Love Arrested Development.
Yeah.
It's a good show. Couple other quick things. Sega Genesis was introduced, started the console wars with Nintendo. George H.W. Bush defeated Michael Dukakis in the presidential election.
Yes.
Became president. Roseanne premiered on TV. Phantom of the Opera premiered on Broadway. Ooh, you remember this? Geraldo Rivera got his nose broken by a racist?
Yes.
Yeah, that happened in
remember that.
88. And some big movies, Die Hard, Twins, Beetlejuice, Big, and Coming to America. All 1988. Good year.
Good year for movies.
Yeah, very good year.
Wow. Margaret Thatcher became the longest serving British prime minister.
I don't know
of the
her.
20th century. I was gonna say.
You mean the old lady who was
first-
prepped for Meryl Streep?
Do you know the first? This is the first store that opened.
The
first of this kind of store that opened.
Blockbuster.
No,
Blockbuster probably was earlier.
Walmart Supercenter.
Oh, the first Walmart
The first
Supercenter?
Walmart Supercenter. Yep.
I can still something about the original Walmart, and there's one down on Cimarron that's still just the regular Walmart. It's not a Supercenter. There's something nostalgic about walking into like a normal regular Walmart, not a Supercenter, that just takes me back.
I find it annoying.
Oh, really? I like it.
I want everything here.
I'm like, sometimes I don't need all of the groceries.
Sometimes I want to buy an egg and a riding lawnmower.
Sometimes I don't need to change my oil, get Lego, and buy all my groceries.
Get new
Sometimes I
socks.
just need a T-shirt.
Do you know how much big screen televisions cost in 1988?
Are we talking like the big, like the projector big screen TVs, or?
I don't know. I'm not a complicated man. It just says a big screen television.
I'm gonna say $400.
3,000.
What?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
You know, Jen's first big screen TV, like a big one, was $5,000.
Oh wow. The first time that my parents got a flat screen TV, they got the plasma, like in the early 2000s when those came out.
Yeah, that's
and I
what I'm
want to
talking
say
about.
they paid like $5,000 or $6,000 for it. Had it professionally installed on the wall. We felt so rich.
Oh, and we got a sound system. And you know,
Yeah.
the first movie we played with this
What?
surround sound and this big screen TV was The Day After Tomorrow.
that's
And we fast forward to the part where like the tornadoes were hitting, and
Oh, that's
we were like, oh, we felt so rich.
I don't know if it was the first movie they all watched, but I know that the first movie I watched on it was Pearl Harbor, and that was a good movie.
Now if I can
Well,
get
it
out of
wasn't a good movie. It was a good movie to watch on that screen.
now if I can get out of a restaurant without spending $100, I feel rich.
Yeah, you can take that money, and go buy a TV now. TVs
Right?
are dirt cheap now.
Right? For the price of
Wait till Black Friday; they'll come way down.
Right. Or Cyber Monday.
Oh yeah, Cyber Monday's coming up, isn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, they go hand in hand.
Oh, that's the one that comes out. No, I'm thinking of Prime Days. Prime Days is coming up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how was your oh wait, do you want to talk about this thing that you were talking about real quick? I know that like we have nothing else to talk about. By the way, we were at an event recently and we got, I wouldn't say yelled at, but somebody who was a listener was like, 2 hours, come on, that's too long.
Come on.
Well, this is why.
Well, we'll do our best. We're at 12 minutes now, and we're almost done. No, there's
What if we were
that's it.
15
Thanks for
minutes?
coming.
Thanks everybody.
So last night, I had heard this a few weeks ago, and I completely forgot about. Last night, we had a small asteroid enter our orbit, and apparently it passed between us and our moon and got pulled up in our gravitational pull. So it's going to hang out. They say it's a mini moon. It's the size of a city bus, and it will just chill and hang out circling the planet to about Thanksgiving, when the orbit will slingshot it back into space. But until Thanksgiving, we have about a bus-size mini moon that is hitched onto our regular moon that's going to just churn around us for a few months.
And you'll be able to see this normally?
I don't know if you'll be able. I think it's too small to see it with the naked eyes. But if you get your special eyes, you may be able to see it. Special eyes like the telescope.
Oh,
Maybe
not LASIK.
super. No, I don't think. Well, I am not a doctor, so I don't want to give medical advice. But if you get LASIK, you may be able to see it.
If we have a doctor listening,
Yes,
let us know.
reach out. Let us
Call
know.
the show.
Let us know. But yeah, so we've got a little mini moon that's hitched on just here through the election till Thanksgiving. It's going to take some pie and turkey, and it's going to head on its way.
Do you think it's going to vote? Is that what it's here for? Is it going to vote twice?
I need to know who you're endorsing, Mini Moon, because this is going to determine whether I'm happy you're here or I need you to get the fuck out.
So how was your week?
My week. It was interesting. It started off with, I'm sure you'll talk about this, but you were out of town. So I took Chris and my brother and his girlfriend bought some tickets, but it was I know.
I'm so sorry.
Well, she's a big
tried to
Bob
warn
Dylan
you.
fan,
I tried to warn
so
you.
she was like, "No, it's Bob Dylan. I want to see it." So we all went and saw The Girl from the North Country. I want to start this off by saying we are very gracious
Yes.
for Dr. Phillips Center. It's a new season, and they hook us up so that we can see the Broadway shows, so that we can report on them and talk about what worked, what didn't work. We also have a deal over with Straz in Tampa Bay that they do the same thing
Yeah,
with you
and
and
it's
Ryan.
wonderful, and we love it.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. So this is nothing against Dr. Phillips. You don't write these shows. You don't write the music. You don't write the songs. But if
You just pick them.
if you want to chat with us about what you should bring back, never bring this show back. The season opened with The Girl from the North Country, which is a musical. I'll put in air quotes because the music really has nothing to do with the story.
it. Right. You know, I mean, usually, like, if you've got a jukebox musical,
Yeah.
and if it's not about the artist and where they take the songs and
Yeah,
make it about their
yeah.
lives, then it's somehow integral to what's happening.
Yeah, it carries
to
the story along.
Like the one that Billy Joel did, Moving Out.
Yeah,
Like,
or the
it's all
Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah, and it's all dance, right? This one with
Mm-hmm.
Billy Joel, and it's all dance, and then but they just sing the songs, and they kind of carry the storyline through.
Yeah.
In this, it's not that. It's a scene, and in between scenes,
It's music.
People come out who are not necessarily involved in the show at all, and sing a Bob Dylan song.
Yeah.
And then they take the one song that I love the most, and they sing it like upbeat, fast, boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B style.
Yeah.
And it was not for me.
But yeah, I mean, it's if you're a Bob Dylan fan, it's got a bunch of good. I mean, obviously, The Girl from the North Country, because that's the name of the play, the musical. To Make You Feel My Love, which is the song you were talking about. Like a Rolling Stone, Lay Lady Lay. There's good Bob Dylan songs,
And they
the
sing them
performers
well.
are wonderful.
Yeah.
This is nothing against the actors. This goes down to, I don't know who wrote this and what they were trying to say. I feel like they saw, you remember, I'm sure you've seen like Our Town,
Yes.
or The Grapes of Wrath.
Yes.
I feel like they watched shows and said, I could do a Great Depression American story. And I just don't know what he was trying to do. I don't know what he was trying to say.
That's a good. It's almost like if you take Our Town,
Yeah.
or Grapes of Wrath, and you add to it the clarity of the movie Memento.
Yeah. Oh no, pick a new movie. Memento's amazing.
No, it's a good movie, but it's not. But the clarity
it's
of
very-
it,
it's very
so
foggy.
So it's like let's
But
take.
Memento explains it at the end.
Well, this may have, but
It
we
did not.
don't know.
It did not.
Oh.
They stayed for the end, and
Oh,
I asked
okay.
them. I said, "What happened? How did?" They said they don't explain it. It just kind of ends.
Yeah, and like you said, the cast is talented.
Yeah,
it's
super
just the
talented
story.
cast.
And if you, I feel like if I was asked to be in this show, I might have to I would Google a show before I did it.
Yeah.
you know, and see, I think that there's somewhere about 50% of the people who go see this don't know how it ends.
Yeah.
because it clears out at intermission.
I will say I did leave at intermission, and there was a hefty chunk of the audience that left at intermission
Yeah,
too.
now I saw it at a different theater last season.
you saw it last season at Stress.
And I did not see the second act either.
Yeah.
And then we looked up and read it online, and it seems to be that no one knows what happens.
because it doesn't have, according to them, it doesn't have a definitive. It just kind of stops, and then the doctor narrator comes out and he's like, "Well, things never got better. Thanks for coming," and then curtain down.
That is which goes against all the messaging that we tell the kids.
Yeah.
Doctor's like,
Life
clearly
sucks. The depression's never going to get
it
better.
doesn't get better, kids.
But there is a light at the end of the tunnel because they are turning it into a movie. And it will be starring Olivia Colman and Woody Harrelson. And they gotta be able to clear this story up for us, right? They're two fantastic actors.
Somebody is gonna have to work this.
Yeah.
You know, they usually take great movie or great musicals and turn them into terrible movies. So maybe
This might be
they'll
the reverse.
flip it.
Yeah.
They'll put their thing down,
Flip it
they'll
and
flip
reverse it.
and reverse it.
There you go. Missy Elliott, start directing it.
there should be that she and she can do the soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh, I would love a Missy Elliott album of just Bob Dylan covers. I need that. I because we recorded the last one early. There were like things I was going through my calendar, and I was like, "Holy shit!" That was after we did the podcast. But we went to the Pride and Business Awards.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
Yeah.
It's a great.
Getting there was a headache, but once we were there, because they do it at the Hard Rock Cafe out at City Walk, and they do it during Halloween Horror Nights. So getting into City Walk and getting to Hard Rock Cafe, I just want to say, and this isn't something I guess that's typical of Universal on any other time period, but at Halloween Horror Nights, remember when we went to Charleston and we were hitting up the little tables and getting freebies, and we got those cool flashlights that pull down and turn to little lanterns?
Yes.
They confiscated it from me because you're not allowed to have flashlights at Halloween Horror Nights. I said, but I'm not even going to the park. He's like, I don't care. You can take it back to your car, or I'll take it from you. And I was like, I ain't walking all the way back to my car. So he confiscated. And then I bet he went back and went into the locker room with his friends. Look at this cool little flashlight I got, guys.
My kid's going to love this.
Ugh. Anyway, whoever had those cool little lantern flashlights at the AAN convention in Charleston, send me a new one.
I really like those.
I love it.
Also, that's a BS story. No, security. Like, if you want to confiscate things for people that are going in, then do it at security at the theme park.
At the theme park
You
gate.
get an entire place full of things for people to do.
Yeah.
What if I was going to Hard Rock Cafe to eat and I needed it to see the menu because I'm 900 years old?
I didn't want to
Or
push it, but I was
49,
like,
same
there's
difference.
a flashlight on my phone. You going to try to take that? Because he might have tried.
Oh, my God. What if you did? And he said, you're right.
You're right. Give it here. Or take it back to your car. That I would have walked back to the car for.
Yeah.
So, but once we got there, it was great. The show was great.
I wonder what that threshold is of like what you'll take back to your car. Like, I've thrown out umbrellas because you couldn't take an umbrella
probably would throw
in,
an
and
umbrella
I threw an
out.
umbrella
Yeah.
out.
I mean, water bottles.
Yeah, throw it out.
I got a nice one at Disney I might take back, but like a regular, like a plastic water, or like one of those freebie
If the
ones.
value is under $20, I'm throwing it away.
Yeah. I think that's a good cap.
Yeah. So yeah, the Pride and Business Awards was good. They do a really good job.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. You know, it's the right amount. There, Nadine Smith was there, and she is
Every time she talks.
she is fantastic. I leaned over to one of the other sponsors was sitting next to me, and she was like, "We're best friends." And but I leaned over to her when Nadine was about to speak, and I was like, "This is gonna be good." If you've never heard her before, this is going to be good. And about halfway through it, she's like tapping me on the shoulder. It's like, I love her. She was good.
Yeah.
We didn't win. We didn't win our category. It was a tough category.
Pom-Poms did.
Pom won,
Yeah.
and she's amazing, and she does a lot for this community and for us. So kudos to her for winning in the favorite small business category.
Yeah.
Maybe 31 will be our year. I'm just kidding.
Fingers crossed.
Do you feel like Susan Lucci?
A little
I'm just kidding.
bit.
We won in 2016.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we got
I
small
have
business
short-term
in
memory
2016.
loss.
I just don't know what's the time frame between like winning one year and then you can go back and win another year.
I don't
'Cause
know.
I feel like SK Burt won more than once, and he won last
Yeah.
year.
I'll be honest, I barely remember the show. I remember stepping out of the
Did you
Hard
enjoy
Rock
the
Cafe
wine?
into the twilight, and I was done. I was gone.
There should be like a bell. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
Or I'll just do what you always do when they say the title of a movie in the movie. You're like, nah.
Well, you didn't get when we were talking about the new moon. You missed that
you're
one.
damn.
I'm already 2 in. We're playing a little game. By the end of the podcast, this is going to make you all listen to the end. By the end of the end of this podcast, we'll tell you what the game is. But see if you can figure it out. Anyway, what else happened this week? Okay, really quick, I want to talk about this because I thought that this was just happened this morning.
I think we can take the phrase really quick out of our vernacular. We're not quick people.
We're putting our wedding to guide for Watermark, and one of the stories that I'm working on is if you want to officiate your friend's wedding, what you have to do. So I went down to the county clerk's office today to chat with them, just to be like, hey, I just have some questions. If I wanted to do this, is it legit? Blah 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 blah. So while I was there, it's a Monday morning, I saw about 9 or 10 couples there who were there to get married. And I was like, just a Monday morning. And they showed up. And 3 of the couples were same-sex couples.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, we should just go hang out there and just do like a story on, hey, did you just decide to show up here on Monday morning? Is this planned? What's going on?
What a great way to get people for wedding bells.
Yeah. But I was just sitting there because she was like, I still had to take a number to ask questions. She's like, we're a little busy. Can you just take a number? And I was like, okay, but don't give me a marriage certificate. I got nobody here to sign it with. So I took a number and I'm sitting there and I'm watching them all come in. And then I got up to the counter and I was talking to the lady and I was like, is it this typical? And she says Mondays are very busy for weddings. Like they discuss it over the weekend. Like, let's do it. First thing, Monday morning, let's go down to the courthouse. But they have a little side room set up like a cute little chapel that you can sign it, and then you can either take the marriage certificate and go do your own ceremony, or they'll do it right there in the little room.
Did you watch one?
No, they closed the door. But when they open it, I peered it. It's cute. It's got the little
I picture
the
you like
lazo
going
things.
there and waiting for like some hot guy, and then when they ask the question like who objects to this, then you do, and you break them up, and then
Snap
you're
my
like,
fan.
well,
I do.
and then they break up, and the one leaves, and you're like, well, but he is.
I did talk to her, and she told me how to get a certificate. There was the first couple that went up was this really hot Hispanic couple. Sweet ass. Really, I was just sitting there and I was like, oh, and then because I didn't, because there's
Sweet
other
ass.
there's other things you go to the courthouse for. So my first thought wasn't, oh, they must be getting married. I thought maybe they were.
How many times do you think at a courthouse for different reasons somebody looks at somebody and says sweet ass? like you're at the courthouse and you like get convicted and they put you in cuffs and you get lined up with the other convicts and somebody looks at you and goes sweet ass.
Sweet ass. But they were nice, and they were holding hands. Then I could hear them. They were getting their marriage certificate, and then like three of the next three people. While I was waiting, after the third person, this other guy gets up and he's really attractive, and I was like, he was by himself. I was like, is he here looking for a husband? And then he's like, I'm being sued. I need to file something. And I was like, no, we'll wait till you're done with that, and then we'll see where our future goes. But I thought that was really
But
cute.
aren't you being sued?
Yeah, I'm being sued too. But mine's
This could be a match
mine is
made in
not
heaven.
legit. He was there to pay, so he obviously did what they were saying he did. I didn't do what they're saying I did. Anyway, rough week. How was your week?
My week was very busy.
Yeah.
Very busy.
You've
Yeah.
been globetrotting.
Like you said, a Kardashian.
Continental dropping.
Yeah, I went to the local media association conference in Chicago.
Yeah.
Watermark is part of what is called the Lab for Philanthropy in Journalism, and so LMA does this conference every year, and they talk about how to make local journalism thrive and survive and all that good stuff. And so, but we went in as part of this lab. So we had a couple of meetings before, like for the day and a half before it, and then we went into this, and it is probably the most valuable conference that I've ever been to in my life. I mean, it was so much information packed in such a short amount of time. That was really good. So kudos to LMA. I love everything that you do. So thanks for having us there. And I'd never been to Chicago. So that was kind of fun.
We went to Charleston earlier this summer. Would you say that your Chicago trip eclipsed the Charleston trip?
Well, I'm going to say this, that there is that there's an extra D in that you just dropped there that doesn't qualify.
I don't mind some extra D.
So, I mean, although everybody likes to add a nice D to it, but I will not say that because that would be rude.
No, the trip not the organization.
Oh, okay.
I meant the cities.
I love Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago is like, it's like I don't know. As Dylan was saying, it was like New York light, right? So it was a big city, a great, beautiful skyline, but it was super clean. And they were I don't know what their flower budget is, but it's got to be on point. Like where were we? Where we were like, what's the snowflake budget of this city? Somewhere we were at.
Snowflake?
Yeah, for the holidays, there were snowflakes somewhere in some city, and they were everywhere. I don't know if it was St. Pete or Orlando, but I just kept thinking like, man, what's their snowflake budget here? So I was thinking like, what's their flower budget in Chicago? I think there's like an extra tax to make it pretty, but they had like hydrangeas like on every street corner, like these huge pots that were full of things. It was beautiful.
Nice.
So it was really clean and cool, and I really enjoyed it. Got to touch the bean.
You got to touch the bean
Gotta
when you go
touch the
to
bean.
Beantown.
We went to the Bean at
no,
night.
that's Boston.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna take
Boys
a picture.
Town.
I was gonna
It's
take a
Chicago.
picture of the Bean and post it and say "loving it in Beantown" as a joke. But I just thought people would start yelling because there's
You know how people in Boston are.
well, I mean, but you know that there's a lot of people from Orlando that lived in Chicago,
Yeah.
or that have moved to Chicago, and some have moved back. But there's just like this crossover; they jump back and forth.
Yeah. Do you know who used to live in Chicago? Bonnie Tyler.
Really?
Yeah, she sang "Total Eclipse of the Heart."
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I want to fact check that. Did you actually look that up?
I googled it.
What did you Google? Did you Google celebrities that lived in, or did you Google is Bonnie Tyler from Chicago so you could say
I googled,
that?
has Bonnie Tyler ever been to Chicago? and she
it said
was
she
for a
lived
short
there?
time.
So the thing about Chicago, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if have you ever been?
No, I've been to their airport
Oh, okay.
in catching a flight.
So we were the conference was not in the hotel. It was part of some college that had. It was beautiful. It was great spaces, perfect for a conference. Like it's so much better than conference rooms at a hotel. Like this setup was great. There were like lecture halls and things like that. But we had to walk like, I don't know, 15 minutes to get to the space. And the first time we were going there, we had GPS on the phone. And then like you get to a street corner, all of a sudden it would just start going in circles. And you're like, what? Where am I supposed to go? You didn't know where to go. So we finally get to the conference and the guy was telling us, he said, oh, by the way, if you've not been to Chicago before, when you GPS something, you need to take a picture of it, like screenshot it with your phone so you can see the route because the buildings are so tall that the GPS gets confused and it blocks the signals and you'll get spun around in circles. And I was like, oh, yeah, that happened.
Interesting.
But because everything's so tall and I have this horrific fear of heights, there was this bridge that we had to walk across to get to some places, and Dylan was there and Ryan was there and they were like, oh, let's go check this out. So like to get to the Bean, we had to cross this bridge, but it looked like the bridge, it was so frightening. It's like where the river is that they turn green for St. Patrick's Day and all that.
Yeah.
But it looked like it was just metal beams with like metal slabs placed on top of it. So there were cracks, like an inch crack in between the plates of metal that you walk across. So I would walk across it and I could see the water below my feet. And I was petrified. They stopped in the middle and they were getting photos. I was like, got to get out of there.
Would they have Glory build it? Sorry, that's a Buffy the Vampire reference. Do you remember that season when Glory, they built that thing that she was...
You're really trying to get some sunlight on these vampire jokes, huh?
She's actually not a vampire. She's a god.
And you're also trying to sound a lot like Ryan during this podcast.
She built that metal bridge. That sounded what it sounded like you were describing because it's like the metal slats. And then it started breaking and Dawn was on there and she almost fell off. Anyway.
And she didn't. But she died anyway.
Season 5. Check it out.
Or one of them did and then came back.
Yeah.
Remember that? And then they had the musical episode.
So good.
So good.
That's a
Walk
pretty
Through
gay
the
show.
Fire
We should
or
watch
whatever
that for
that
the
is.
podcast.
Oh, yeah. She's a lesbian, right?
Willow is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
then,
Chicago.
so then we posted that we were in Chicago, and it got so many reactions. Oddly, the picture of Dylan and I, like, a lot. But because of that, people were commenting like, "Go eat at Lou Malnati's." They say eat the deep dish there because it's great. And I'd never had deep dish. I mean, I would say I've never had deep dish. I ate Pizzeria Uno in Orlando when it was open when I was like in middle school or something. But
Why does that sound familiar? Have I been to Pizzeria Uno?
I mean, it's a chain, yeah.
Oh, maybe. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, and so we went to this place. Thankfully, I was sitting there in the conference, and I was, there was somebody was talking about something, and I wasn't grasping, and I'm like, let me just look at this restaurant online, and it said you could make reservations, so I did, which thankfully I did, because even on like a Tuesday night when we got there, it was crazy packed, and they were like, if you don't have a reservation, it's gonna be 2 hours. So we got sat right away and ate right away, and it was delicious. Are you a fan of the deep dish?
Not really. I've had deep dish, and it's not bad. It just has a very lasagna taste to it. When I ate it, I didn't think, this is delicious pizza.
Yeah, and when I say deep dish, I don't mean like a pan pizza from Pizza Hut, right? Because that's just a thick crust.
It's like a lasagna.
This pizza, deep dish pizza, is like when it was invented, or somebody ate a slice of pizza and said, I wonder what this would be like if you reverse the order in which
Yeah.
you made this. So, or the toppings are completely reversed. Cheese, toppings, sauce.
And then sauce. But it's like thick cheese,
Yeah.
thick sauce.
And the sauce is basically just like tomatoes mashed a little.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was good, but it wasn't like New York has nothing to worry about. They still have the best pizza.
There's a place down by the theme parks. When my brother would come into town with his kids when he'd take them to Universal or Disney, there's a pizzeria over there that does pretty good deep dish pizza. And they every time they come here, they have to go there. They love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Sorry. I hadn't had pizza in like 3 months.
Yeah.
So I ate pizza for the first time.
Did you throw the point counting system out for this trip?
No, I kept track of
you
the
still
points.
count?
And I'm going to tell you, I'm gonna shout out to Weight Watchers because you can really you can eat things like this. You just can't, you just have to, I ate a bunch of 0-point food. Like I ate fish and things like that for lunch. I kept all my points down low because I knew I was going to go out and get this. So then I had 2 pieces of pizza, that was 24 points. So it cut into my weekly points, but not so much that it was a problem. I think by the at the end of the week, considering both places that I went and all the food that I ate, I went over the points, the daily and the weekly, by 2 points. So that's pretty good.
Oh, that's not bad.
And I must have walked so much because I weigh less today than I did when I started
Good
the
for
week.
you.
So it was,
because I think it's Chicago. Did you go to the Bear restaurant?
the Bear restaurant.
The restaurant from the Bear?
Oh,
There's a restaurant that the show
Yeah.
The Bear is based off of a restaurant. I'm pretty sure it's from Chicago.
yeah, and it's great because they have stand up there, and they bring you to tears.
Nice. Sounds
Because
like
of
a fun,
the sadness.
funny place.
Because of the sadness. I would never eat at a restaurant called The Bear. I don't care how good it is, unless they admit
That
it's
is
probably
not
not
funny.
a restaurant. It's probably a souvenir shop called The Bear that they say is a restaurant.
I want you to go in there and I'll be like, I'll order food here, but first you admit you're not funny.
So then I came back to Orlando for a day.
Yeah.
Because the paper was going out and we have things to do for that. And then Dylan and I went to Washington, D.C. Friday, Saturday,
Love
Sunday.
DC.
We didn't do much in Chicago. We just had Tuesday night to walk around. Oh, and then Dylan and I walked around and it was a great conference, but I did skip the last session because
Oh, no.
I felt bad for Dylan.
That's the one where they tell you the secret of life.
Yeah. But they're going to send out all the decks from the
Yeah.
conference. So I was like, okay, I could read the decks from this. So we
How
went
many
out-
decks were there?
a lot. I'm telling you, these conferences are packed full of information,
Yeah.
and they go into the night. I mean, because you got dinners, you got things to do. But we got some bikes and rode around a little, got some photos, and it was fun. Then we came back here, and then we went to DC for his cousin's wedding. His gift to them is that he's going to photograph it, and I just kind of tagged along. But this is his uncle and aunt that live in New Paltz, New York. That we go visit all the time. And their son that was getting married, and so it's part of the family, and so that's why I went. It wasn't just the tag along.
Yeah.
But it was great. And what was really cool about it is that when we landed, the publisher for the Washington Blade, or the owner, one of the owners, picked us up from the airport and took us to
it was
lunch.
very nice.
Which is really kind of cool because it was great to sit down and get to chat with her. I turn any chance she probably was like, stop talking about work. But I just want to talk to her about, how things are going with what they're doing. She's been at it for longer than I have. So it's great to pick her brain about things. So that was really cool. She's so delightful. But that night we went to the White House.
Very nice.
I mean, not by invitation. I mean, it's just so
they're
different.
busy
Have
right
you,
now.
You've been to the White House, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the front of it.
How long ago?
2000. I want to say 2009 was the last time we went.
Okay.
It's been a while.
I was there when I was in college,
Yeah.
which was 96 or 94, 95, 96. And I feel like the fence was shorter.
Yeah, pre 9/11, it was you didn't
Okay.
have to schedule to go on a tour. They did tours every hour, and the fence. I don't even know if there was a fence.
There was, but it
there?
was really
Yeah.
short because I climbed to the top of it and got in trouble. So and then I was looking at this. I'm like, there's no way I could climb.
Yeah,
that.
no, they've added some security since
and you're
9/11.
further back, yeah. So it was definitely a lot different. But I took a picture, or I took some pictures, and then there was this person that had a sign that said it was handwritten that said Trump and Vance. ants are weird, and I thought that was funny. So I posted these pictures, and I made a comment. The comment was, "Stop by to see Kamala." But they said she hasn't moved in yet. That I have to come back in January. And somebody that I do not know commented and said, "You won't need to. She won't be there." And I was like, I don't even know who you are. Why are you trolling my page? Like, that's the problem with this job, right? Is that you accept so many people as friends just to get information out. And it's just, I just wish, like, listen, I don't go on your page and, I didn't even respond to this. And this is a lesson for you. This is how this works. When you read something like that, you just move on. You don't have to say shit on my page. Like, do you want to get in a political argument? Anyway, I found that very annoying.
By the way, it's Mr. Beef is the name of the restaurant in Chicago. If you ever go back, Mr. Beef.
Sounds hilarious.
And I'm reading up on it. It sounds delicious.
So the
I
wedding,
have to check it out.
the wedding was gorgeous. It was in this really cool, like, artsy space. And the bride, I just can't describe this enough. She was so radiant. Like, she was just beautiful. The best thing about it, right? She's super beautiful, and her dress is beautiful. When she walked out to go down the aisle, the joy on her face when she saw everybody and the setup and her future husband there. Oh, so I was like, I love weddings. And that was why. I mean, I love them because of the cake, but that was just joyous. It was really cool. But then something happened. Have you ever seen I think they did this on America's Funniest Home Videos when people at weddings pass out? Mm-hmm. Well, there was a moment there during the vows where the bride, like, she just read on him that something wasn't right, and she just was smiling and doing her vows, and she's like, and he's about to pass out. And then, like, the groomsmen came in and got him and sat him down for a while. So for like 10 minutes, there was like this real kind of like, oh, what's happening kind of a thing. But
he finally realized what he was signing up for.
They brought the bill. No, he was actually like a little ill.
Yeah.
And, so that combined with like there's a lot going on in a wedding day.
Yeah.
You know, and then like standing in front of everybody in the heat and all that kind of stuff. I think it just kind of got, to him. But 10 minutes later, jump right back up. Rest of the thing was flawless, fantastic, really kind of cool. And it's just great to see that. It reminds you too, like, it reminded me of my wedding, and like all the happiness and the, everything that the promises and the love and all that kind of stuff. And it just kind of brings it all back. It was really cool.
Nice.
I had a great time. Then the next day we had lunch with his uncle and aunt and two of their friends, and one of them turned out to be, I had to Google it, right? Because we're sitting there chatting, and she's just saying things like, she's super funny, nice, great stories, but she would say, like, they would start talking about some author, and she would be like, oh, well, I was doing a speech at Princeton about books on this or something, and then she would say it again, and then they were making references to the books that she had written and stuff like that. And so, and when we left, I was
Sounds
like
a little smug.
I was like, oh, it was deliciously, slightly bitingly smug, but in a really endearing, cool way. And but no, it's just so I asked Dylan when we left, I was like, is she famous? Like, did we just have brunch with a famous author? And
Was it J.K. Rowling?
I was like, did you catch her last name? No, wouldn't it be crazy if it was?
I'd be shocked you're sharing that story.
I was like, how many listeners would we lose if I said? No, her name is Mary Gordon. And turns out that she is, I didn't know this was a thing either, but she is the official state author of New York State.
Oh.
That's a thing.
Got like a
she's won
official
awards. She's got,
poet
if you
laureate?
Google Mary Gordon and look at if you look at images, there's a cover of her very first book, and I forget the name of it, but I did look it up. And I'm like, I have seen that book somewhere. It's just it's like a blue thing. I forget the name of it, but it was really cool. So yeah, we met her, and I'm hoping
Roots of Empathy.
Is that the first one? I don't think that's our first one.
I mean, all that came up were pictures. That's the first book that came up. Let's see. Mary Gordon books.
Mary Gordon first book. That's what I'm going to look up right now. And I'm going to tell you why I'm doing it so it's not Dead Space.
Spending.
Did I lose?
Circling My Mother.
None
The
of that.
Company of Woman.
Why, Google what's her first book.
Mary Gordon's.
This is why we hit 2 hours.
First
because I get caught on something and I'm like, I need to know what it is. I lost the internet or I would.
Final Payments.
Yes.
Published in 1978.
Now, if you look at the image for that, haven't you seen that cover somewhere?
Let me see. Boop, doop, doo, 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 boo.
I could definitely see it.
No, that does not look familiar to me.
Well, it does to me. So
You're a little older than
my
me.
favorite thing about that trip, there are two things. My favorite things about that trip. There's one is we made plans to go to New York before the end of the year.
Very nice.
Because I said I cannot wait to see Audra McDonald in Gypsy, and his uncle Phil was
You're
like,
going to have to wait. It hasn't started yet.
"Isn't it?
Has it?
I think it has.
Oh, maybe you don't have to
Unless
wait.
it's in previews.
Get on that plane.
At least it's in previews. He said that his wife doesn't want to see it, so he's like, "Come to New York, and I'll go with you.
Come fly with me."
And I'm like, "Hell yes!" So we're gonna look at our calendars and go before the end of the year, so we can
Nice.
see that. Because he's like, she won't do it. She won't be in it past the, her contract probably isn't that long.
Yeah, she's in it long enough to get the Tony nomination, and
Yeah.
then she's out.
Right. And maybe the win. And then this is kind of weird. Mm-hmm. But do you eat at airports?
Do I
when
eat
you're there?
at airports
Yeah,
if
you're-
I have a layover? Yeah.
Yeah, you just sit down at restaurants and
Yeah.
eat, and the food's usually
It's fine.
it's fine.
Yeah.
I ate in Chicago on the way back, because I was like, every chance I get, I have to eat salmon because it's 0 points.
Sure.
Nastiest food I've ever had. It was so gross. It was like burnt, and it was like, it was just sitting on a bed of like lentils that looked burnt too. It was just gross. So then we went to this other restaurant in DC on the way back here because, we were there a couple hours early. And it was the most delicious food I've ever had.
More salmon.
It was,
All
but
right.
it was so good. So just a shout out to, I think it's called the Legal Seafood something, which sounds weird to say it's legal seafood, like everybody else's isn't. But it was delicious. So if you find yourself in an airport, eat there because everyone's food looked amazing. It's just it's the difference between like eating something by Gordon Ramsay or eating something at fast food at a theme park.
Yeah.
It was just such a stark difference.
Difference between Gordon Ramsay and Mary Gordon. Good books, Mary, but you can't cook fish.
I don't know that she's gonna care. She might be listening. She might be one of
hey,
the
Mary.
two that I convinced. I did talk about us a lot, and I talked about how
Actually, you know who makes the best fish? Gordon Fishman. It's his job.
maybe you did grow up poor.
Did I?
I mean I did, and that's the kind of I think I remember eating fish sticks a lot.
Gordon makes
And
more
I
than fish
like
sticks.
mac and
It
cheese, but
makes-
my favorite mac and cheese
makes fish patties,
it costs like $1 a box.
hush puppies, grilled fish.
and
seafood bake?
He's always got that yellow raincoat on.
There you go. He's ready. Yum. That was Gordon Fishman, right? No, that's Red Robin. Yum. Wrong
I'm
one.
not a fan of Red Robin.
Never been to a Red Robin. Yeah, I know.
Let me give you a little bit of advice
I know.
when you go there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got your burger and you got a little tin cup with French fries in it.
Okay.
Your instinct might be to pick that tin cup of fries up and put it off to the side so you got more room. The French fries will fall out if you do that. It's bottomless.
Ooh, I
And
do
not
love
that-
bottomless
not
French
that
fries.
not that they're going to keep refilling them.
Oh.
Just that they'll fall out of the tin cup.
Oh, I got you. There's no bottom on your tin cup. All right.
Unlike Orlando,
Duly noted.
which is full of bottoms.
Oh.
So they say.
Well, wear your tin cup.
So yeah, that was an exciting,
Good
very
week.
long,
very
crazy.
long, exciting week. And I think a lot of it had to do, we added a few extra days.
Yeah.
Since we recorded earlier the last one. So it was more than what did we do the past week. It was what we did the last week and a half.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah.
Just kidding. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. We got some Big Brother to catch up on.
Yum.
We'll try not to. We'll try not to go through all of the.
I'm just going to say,
what
I'm
for
so
whats.
happy this is almost over. We're down to the
Yeah.
top 5. The show's almost done. And I'm going to tell you right now, I will never watch Big Brother again. This was a nice experiment.
I'm
I will
not.
never watch it
I
again.
am not disagreeing with that.
Yeah.
And I may not ever watch it again because of like the last 10 minutes of Thursday nights.
Yeah.
Or the last 5 minutes of it. I just cannot bring myself. I just don't think it relates to me anymore. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, how far ago was this? I mean, I watched this episode a long time ago. So this was just last Sunday.
Episode 31 would have been
week ago.
last Sunday. Yes.
It feels like forever ago.
Yeah. So just to set up where we left off, Mackenzie won HOH. Oh no, we pick up
don't know.
where they're doing it.
Yeah.
They started it the episode before,
Right.
And
they
then
just
we come
kicked
to
out
finish it.
T-Core, right?
Yeah.
T-Core just got kicked out. Jankytown.
Jankytown was
Well, they're
they go in to do the building the candy towers.
So they're building. So the head of household competition is they have to build a candy tower.
Yeah.
And my God, how is Cam still in this game? Anyway, like, how can you not understand that you need a solid base and build up from there?
Yeah.
Hey, have you never
God he's
watched
pretty.
Big Brother?
Thank God
He
he's
is a
pretty.
good-looking guy.
I'll tell you what, Cam, you take your shirt off and you can fuck up any HOH comp you want.
So Cam isn't very bright. That's what I
Yeah.
wrote down there. Rabina locks in early.
Yeah.
With hers. Then you get like here's the top. You have to build your tower. You have to build it to what you think
might be the highest.
and then hit it. But at the end of 10 minutes or whatever it is, or 30 minutes, it just stops.
Yeah.
And that rings you in. So whatever you're at. They had the top three who built the tallest candy towers, which is Rabina, Mac, and Angela. Angela was third with 20 points. And Mackenzie won with 30.
And she became HOH.
And she cried.
This is just on par. She cries.
Yeah.
However, the best thing happens after she cries. Something goes wrong with Janky. And they're like, something's happening. Oh, no. And then he dies. And it made me so happy because I hate that fucker.
This is so funny because I'm sitting there and I'm talking to these people at this brunch. And I said, what makes this show weird to me, our show, our podcast, is that we disagree on everything almost. Like it's so strange. So I could say that even like, oh, I like hot dogs, and Jeremy would be like, hot dogs are disgusting. Like, and it could
They're
just
not
be
disgusting,
something that
but they will kill you.
as like it could just be
I
something
prefer all
that
beef
everybody like.
sausage.
I like feeling happiness, and Jeremy like
Happiness is
for
stupid.
losers.
I like sadness.
Yeah, and so of course you don't like Janky.
I find him obnoxious.
I love the fact that he could just be like, "Hey, best friends," and then everybody's like, "I hate you." It cracks me up. And his death was tragic.
I loved it.
It was sad.
I went back and watched it 3 times. So he dies.
So Ainsley kills Janky.
Ainsley returns in some sort of sadistic evil. I'm here to take over the world. And I was like, calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. You're just a reality show, Ainsley.
I do like the thing where she's like, on my time away, I learned how easily the human spirit can be broken and that AI should rule the world. Like,
She ain't wrong.
She ain't wrong there.
And this was probably more exciting for you because this is my first year, but they all seemed ecstatic that
Zingbot.
Zingbot was back.
Zingbot, come on now. You got to admit.
He was humorous. I did like
He was
Zingbot.
funny.
I did like
so,
Zingbot.
So Zingbot shows up every year when you get to like whoever's left, like this 6 or 8 people that are left. Then Zingbot comes out and roasts everybody, which is like, because he'll roast them and then he yells Zing, right? That's his thing. So, his first roast was... Who was his first roast to?
Rabina. Because he did a little limerick where he called Tucker a bitch.
Is that what he did?
Yeah.
I think it rhymed with Tucker. Because it was...
But in it, he calls him a bitch, too.
Oh, okay. Because then he says at the end, he says they evicted that fucker.
Yeah,
and
but
it
they
made me laugh.
bleeped it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he yells,
He called Leah dumb.
he called chemo. He said chemo puts people to sleep.
Yeah.
which is funny because every time he talks, you do kind of want to go to sleep. Yeah, he called Leah's was lame because he called her she's a chubby chaser, and that whatever chubby she ends up with is a dummy chaser. That was kind of lame.
Mackenzie was a big-footed monster.
That was kind of funny.
It was funny.
And then Cam's a waste of space, no substance, no
My
impact
favorite
on the game.
with Cam is after that because they guess he does yoga. They said, "Now me star zing zing," and that made me laugh.
This is where they start getting good.
Then Chelsea doesn't have a prayer with Cam, and then everybody was just like, and he goes, awkward zing.
That was hilarious.
That made me laugh.
And then perhaps the best zing of all is he sings London Bridge is falling down.
Yeah.
But he sings Angela is melting down. And
Yeah.
it's this whole song about her crying.
Like long song. Like
Yeah.
she got like 4 times the time everybody else did. And Zingbot's like, nobody knows why you're still here.
The entire thing. And it just was hilarious because you could see her face just like going into that meltdown. Like she was very unhappy about
Yeah.
it, but it was hilarious. And it was just funny because then, like during the show, they're all sitting on the couch later, and they're all talking about Zingbot, and Angela is trying so hard not to cry, and just putting her hands in her face and wiping away tears, and you're just knowing that inside she's melting down.
Yeah. She
But
when
she-
she went in the diary room and she was all like, fuck you, Zingbot. She was not she had a smile on her face, but there was no happiness behind that smile.
No.
So then we had a good time with Zingbot, and then Mackenzie has to put up her noms, and are we surprised? Angela and Chemo.
No, I mean
they're the fillers basically
Yeah.
for the whole season.
yeah, that's where it starts. It inevitably ends up somewhere else, but that's where it
Yeah.
always starts. So then, and of course, Chelsea is lobbying that Leah gets put up.
Yeah.
And Mackenzie says that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And then,
But we learn over the course of this week that whatever
Yeah.
Chelsea wants Mackenzie to do probably will happen.
So then Wednesday's episode, I wrote Angela's a mess. Ugh, she's annoying. I don't know why, but I think if you watch the show, you probably do.
Yeah. And Angela cries. That's how the episode starts. Is Angela cries because she's been put up again. So, it probably was Tuesday.
I am just so tired of hearing like this is my dream and I'm gonna I'm gonna win this and I deserve to be here and I want this. So, yeah, so does everybody. Shut up.
yeah.
Get a new
Everybody
writer.
in there
Get a
wants
new-
the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, dingbat.
Anyway,
so Mackenzie's just kind of like, she talks to Chemo, she talks to Angela. Well, she talks to Leah, and she's telling the other one, oh, no, you're just the pawn, Chemo. It's Angela that we're getting out. And then she's like, Leah, no. Angela's just the pawn. We all know it's Chemo we're getting out. And she's, that's what you do in this game. You got to
Yeah.
play both sides. So Mackenzie's playing a good game until she always runs back to Chelsea, and she's like, "Did I do good, Chelsea? Did I do
What
what
is
you
that
wanted,
about?
Chelsea?" It's like she needs her approval. It's like Mean Girls.
It has become very evident that
Yeah.
Mackenzie is good at winning comps, but she is not playing this game.
No.
She is playing Chelsea's game.
She's become like Tucker. Like she feels like even if something happens and she gets put up, she can easily win a comp. And with the 5 in the house, she's probably right.
Right.
None of these people are going to win comps except for her. But she's gotten very cocky of, I can play a loose game because I can get myself out with a comp if I need to.
I'm very interested in to see the next Power Veto, but I won't say that. I will save that for the end. So this is a Power Veto competition. Mackenzie, Angela, and Chemo are playing. Mackenzie draws her own name, so she picks Cam. Chemo draws Leah, and Angela draws Chelsea.
Yep. So Rabina is the only one in the house who's not playing.
And before they play the game, they show Angela in the workout room.
Oh my God.
And she's having a little bit of a meltdown. She's getting a little
I call
crazy.
it the Rocky montage.
Yeah, definitely. She's walking around. She's like, I can do anything. I'm all powerful. I can make this happen. You're gonna win this and blah blah blah. And then she goes to like pull down the bar on the weight machine.
And it slips out of her hand and she falls back. She's like, I'm done with this. I thought that was a perfect way to start off this week of Angela just finally quitting and giving up.
Yeah.
It foretold of a lot that's going to happen.
So this is an interesting game. I would not have been good at this.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the most complicated games. So what they had to do for this veto competition is they were outside and there were like 3 animals.
Oh, you skipped the first
Oh.
part that made my eyes roll. The comp and this episode paid for by the new animated film, The Wild Robot. So we had to watch a trailer to the stupid movie. Then the game is themed by this stupid movie. And then we finished the episode with the winner of the comp and 3 of your household friends get a special screening. And they're like, it's the greatest movie I've ever seen. It should win all the Oscars. Come on. I don't know how much money they paid for it, but I don't want to watch a damn commercial when I'm watching Big Brother.
Okay, let's be real. You don't want to watch Big Brother.
I don't want to watch Big Brother. Although,
And-
and I say that, I do kind of want to watch The Wild Robot.
It looks fantastic.
It does.
I was
It
like,
looks really
I'm
good.
sitting over here like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you bashing Wild
I
Robot?
do want to see it, but I don't like this product placement in the middle of the show. It's annoying.
And everything, you know what I thought was annoying about it? Because when they watch it, they talk through the whole fucking thing. Like
Yeah.
the lights are on and they're like, but you know I think this is what happens, right?
They've got talking points.
Right. Here's what happens: is before they watched the movie, they said because they did this when we watched that show, that Megan Hilty show, and before the show, they said we were going to get some crowd reactions before the show.
Yeah.
So there's like everybody look sad or everybody look this way, everybody clap, and then they just put those things in between so they don't film during the show and interrupt everybody.
Now, we follow directions well because if you saw the show,
We were
they
in
did
it a
cut
lot.
to us and we're like,
We were in it a lot.
Oh.
So I think that before they show them the movie, they're like, everybody looks sad, and they're like, oh, and
Yeah.
they're like, everybody look like this. So, and then they show the movie. But I could do without that commentary during
Yeah.
it as well. But it looks like such a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how is this robot going to make me cry like crazy? But it's going to.
Yeah.
So the competition, right? So
Yeah.
there's these animals, and they're characters from the movie.
Yeah.
Which I completely forgotten about. They make noises, and then you have to go to this soundboard, and all the noises are attached
line
to a
them up,
word.
yeah.
And you got to find out what that animal's asking for, then go find it.
yeah.
And
So,
then
for instance, you've got a squirrel. It's like, burp, 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 burp. And that means I want a chocolate bar. And you got to give him the chocolate bar and present it in front of him like where it's some weird cult. And it's like, here you are, squirrel,
Yeah.
your magic chocolate bar. And it's like, burp, 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 that's not what I fucking wanted. And then you have to go find out what you really wanted. It was
Yeah.
annoying. I would not be able to do it either. I'm bad with sounds.
Yeah, and the sounds were similar.
Yeah.
So like I would never be able to memorize the sound and then put it
Yeah.
to a thing. So anyway, very difficult.
But you know who could? Damn Mackenzie.
You know what? I'm gonna say after her first 2 wins, and she's like, "I'm a comp beast," and I'm like, "Get over yourself." Yeah, all right, she's a
Yeah.
comp beast.
She's the only one in the house who wins anything anymore.
Right. She's the new Tucker,
Yeah.
but without the
Without the chiseled pecs.
without the overt
Sexiness,
brazenness or cockiness.
beauty.
She's
She's
not
attractive. I won't say that.
She's not. She's
Dumb
not.
hats?
She's not obnoxiously cocky about
Shouldn't
it.
have the dumb hats like he does.
Yeah.
I will say I love Tucker, but I do not care for those hats.
And she doesn't have the chest hair, although we don't know because
Yeah.
She's
More
never
power
watched-
to you. If you don't want to shave it, girl, don't shave it. Be natural. I like a hairy chest. Anyway.
I don't know why
Where-
that makes me laugh so
where
hard.
were we?
All right, so she wins. Then okay, Chelsea Mac and Leah were on top of Chelsea wins. Okay.
Yeah.
No, Mac wins. All right. So then Leah tells Rubina she wanted Chelsea to go home.
Yes. And it
And
shouldn't have
then
been T-Core up.
Rubina, right? So then Rubina, which is a dumb thing, because I mean, I get that Leah's trying to.
She's trying to endear herself to the
Right.
members of the trio
right.
that are
So
left.
she's
Yeah.
still there. She's got people. She's got numbers. But Chemo's on the block,
Yeah.
and Mackenzie won. So if you tell that to Rubina, then Rubina's going to run to Mackenzie and say, "Hey, she wants Chelsea out, and that's your friend, and so you're going to have to take somebody down and put her up."
Yeah.
Which, so Rubina tells Mackenzie, and then they watch the stupid movie. We already talked about that. So then
they all
Mackenzie,
cry. I'm sure that shocked everyone that
Yeah.
they were crying.
so then Mackenzie tells Chelsea and Cam that Leah was gunning for Chelsea.
Yeah.
So then everybody's like, put Leah up.
Yeah, Chelsea's pushing for Mackenzie. Pull Chemo down and put Leah up. And she says, but Leah's my friend. And she's like, Mackenzie, I told you what to do. Now do it. And Mackenzie's like, no, I'm going to stand my ground and I'm going to play my game. No, I'm just kidding. No, she didn't. She did exactly what Chelsea told her to.
Yeah.
So, the part, are we going to talk about where Leah's napping on the balcony now?
That is some shit.
Good Lord, you've been in this house long enough. How stupid are you not to check before you start gossiping?
Right.
So Leah's napping up in the balcony. They're outside on the yard, and she's up there napping. And Chelsea and Rubina are playing pool, talking about how they're going to put Leah up and pull chemo down. And then they're sitting there, and then Leah gets up, and she's like, yawn. And she gets up, and they look at each other like, has she been up there the whole time?
But she's listening and she's hearing her name. Unfortunately, she can't make out everything they're
exactly
saying.
what they're saying.
So she's like, what the fuck? They're talking about me and they're whispering. So then she goes to talk to Mackenzie and it's like, what's going on? So while she's talking to Mackenzie, then the people who were talking about her are like, we got to find out if she could hear us. So Chelsea goes upstairs to be where Leah was.
Yeah. Well, first she went to talk to Angela, and then Leah and Angela came out after Chelsea went upstairs to see if she could hear up there.
And so they're all whispering.
While they're whispering and Chelsea's up on the balcony where Leah was, Leah and Angela walk out and they're like, yeah, so that's what I was thinking.
And then it's so awkward. But the greatest part of it was like Mackenzie is coming out with them.
Yeah.
And looks at Chelsea, who's now upstairs holding a pool stick because she was playing pool. And she goes, why do you have a pool stick upstairs?
That's how I play.
And Angela called it out to Leah later, but she's like, that's
exactly what they were doing.
She was up there trying to see if you could hear what they were saying, and you're in danger, and now this is what's going down.
Girl. And Leah. She ain't wrong. And Mackenzie uses the veto to pull chemo down. Puts Leah up as a replacement after she just seconds later said, she's like, don't put me up. And she's like, no, Leah, I would never do that. And then she's like, I'm sorry, but I must do this. Chemo, you get the veto. Leah, get your ass up there. And tears everywhere. Leah's crying. Mackenzie cries. The only person who didn't really cry was Chelsea because she got exactly what she wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, Chelsea's doing well. I mean, I think I said in the first week that Chelsea probably could win, and I think that signs are pointing in that direction.
Yeah, I wrote down here, did we get a second movie product placement? Because they're acting like jokers. Anyway, so where were we? They gather in the jewel. Oh, this was stupid. I get that they're playing games. This was a little much. And I'm like, okay. So, Julie pops up.
Yeah.
As AI Julie. And she's like, oh no, Ainsley has taken over the world. I have been in talks with the government and the president, and I'll keep you posted. And it's just these stupid little videos of her talking about how Ainsley's taking over the world, and Julie, of all people in this world, is helping the government. She's like, I have been in talks with the president. No, you haven't, Julie. You're like 456,000 on the list of who the president would call if AI took over the world.
It's called Big Brother, and Big Brother is watching. So I can see the course. And let me tell you something. I want to point this out because when on Sunday, Dylan and I were walking around DC. We went on a tour of went to see all the monuments, and we were standing in front in like a park near the Capitol, and one guy told this other guy. He says, when you walk into this park now and you're close to the Capitol, they ping your phone so they know who's here. And this other guy goes, I believe it. And I was like, you fucking morons. No, the cell tower pings your phone all the time. Mm-hmm. They check the towers to see who was there if a crime happens. But the government's not pinging to see where you are. It's the cell towers.
Also, if the government is pinging you, who cares, John? Standing in the park in D.C., they don't give a fuck what you're doing. You think you're so important,
no, everybody.
They don't care who you are.
John's here. Oh, no. Call the National Guard.
Fucking John.
Fuck John. Damn it, John.
So anyway, Ainsley has gone berserk, causing chaos. The jurors are missing. And then it turns out it wasn't Julie. It was Ainsley all along.
Oh, Ainsley again.
Oh. And that's how it ends.
I want an Ainsley onesie to wear for Halloween.
Ooh, that would be a good Halloween costume.
I don't know that I have the body for it, but that's a tight body suit.
I'm going to go as Angela. Because I have the body for it.
Oh. Do you know what I've decided? Leah is Angela 30 years before.
Oh my God, she is.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why she felt bonded to her. That's going to be you.
Yeah, losing... Oh, spoiler alert.
Well, we'll get to that part.
ruins her life and turns her into Angela.
So the next episode starts with Mackenzie and Leah talking because Leah was just put up and Mackenzie just wants her to be like, I don't want you to be mad at me. It was strictly, because of gameplay. And Leah's still pissed. She's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm still mad at you. I don't like
every
you.
right to be. And she's right. This is a mistake on Mackenzie's part.
Yeah. So I wrote down here, Mackenzie brings Chelsea into the conversation. They worry that Chemo and Rabina are coming for Chelsea and Cam. I don't know what that means.
Say that again.
Mackenzie brings Chelsea into the convo. They worry that Chemo and Rabina are coming for Chelsea and Cam, but I don't remember who
because
they were.
Leah is telling...
Mackenzie and Leah. Okay, yes.
Leah tells Mackenzie, like, no, Rabina was mentioning your name.
Yeah.
And then,
So this is when we find out that this is a special night. It is double elimination night.
And this is their punishment for believing Julie.
Oh, yeah. Angie's like, you believe that Julie was really me. So since you suck, double elimination.
As if that wasn't going to happen anyway.
Yeah. Like, you know what you're doing, Ansley. So they take the first vote.
Angela cries.
Oh,
and guess what? She really wants to be there because this is her favorite show and this is her dream. If you didn't know.
I do vaguely remember something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that was said for the 400th time. But I mean, in a clean sweep, 4-0, they send Leah home.
Really? And for those that are listening to this that are tired of us talking about Big Brother, you can blame Chemo. If he got out
he's our Gangle. If he was out. But you know what? Fret not. I kind of think next week might be the last week we talk about this. So they go, because it's double elimination, they go right into the HOA comp. And it's about all the things that happened with Julie Bot and the messages. It's a true or false. Did Julie say this or did Julie say that? And then you go true or false. And it comes down to Chelsea and Angela. And they have to do a tiebreaker.
Right. Which, come on, guys. Come on.
It's
here's
how
the math.
many minutes were you out at Jankyville or something like that?
How many minutes since the moment that Janky appeared on the screen inside the house to the moment that he died? How many minutes passed?
Yeah. So it was a week because they were out there for a week.
Here's the math, people. Here's the minimum math. You were out there for 7 days. It's 60 minutes in an hour times 24 hours in a day times 7 days in a week. It's 10,080 minutes minimum, right?
Yeah.
So then, but maximum, you're going to add
it's Price is Right rules. So you're not allowed to go closest without going over wins.
Right. So my guess would have been 10,080. Now, so here's where it gets dumb. Chelsea dropped a zero somewhere. She put 1,080.
Yeah, she put 1,000 minutes.
And it should have been 10,080.
So Angela should have had this in the bag.
Right. But Angela, that would be an additional 4 days. Like 3
Angela
or 4
put
days.
like 15,000 minutes or something like that, way over. So Chelsea wins, becomes HOH, and then instantly it's like, hey, you've got a few minutes to chat because we're going to another elimination. Right. So first Chelsea nominates Angela and Chemo because that's the base. It's like any good recipe. Like if you're making a dish at Taco Bell, you have your basic ingredients. It's just how you arrange them. Chemo and Angela are the Taco Bell ingredients. They're always in it. It's just how you arrange them. So then they do a veto comp, which is called Eye in the Sky, and you've got these little balls on a ramp that you have to dump into a cylinder.
Yeah, this is another classic game.
Yeah.
Like this wavy little thing that you got to put a ball down.
Sort of like they did with the chicken eggs.
Yeah.
But without having to put them through a hen house or whatever.
But because it was a double eviction, they had to get done fast. They had bumpers on the curves. Which,
I did notice that, yeah.
Which they typically don't have, and that's why it can go on for hours.
And that is the only reason that Chemo won.
Yes.
Chemo, in the moment that he needed to, he pulled it out, and he won veto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he would have gone home anyway.
I think it would have been Angela anyway.
I don't think that his win mattered.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chemo. I don't think your win mattered.
No.
So I'm not going to give you credit for it.
But Chelsea, so she has to Chemo pulls himself down. So Chelsea talks to each one individually and says, who should I put up? Blah blah blah.
One of my favorite moments
With Angela?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because it happens usually once a season, and usually during like this double eviction, because people are going so fast they don't think. So Chelsea is pulling people in one by one and saying, okay, Angela's going home. I just need a volunteer to go up as a pawn. So then Angela comes into the room and she's like, I'm just asking people who wants to go up as a pawn.
Not realizing Angela's the one who's on there who
Right.
they're going to go up with the pawn.
So Angela's like, no,
What?
I don't
what?
want to go home. She's like,
At that moment, she knew.
Yeah,
I'm done.
yeah.
So she ends up putting Rubina up. And then it's 3-0. They send Angela home. Finally.
Oh my
I can't believe
God.
it took them this long to get her out. And she went full on. If you haven't seen Still Magnolias, you need to
Oh my
watch it.
God.
She went full Sally Field at the
Yes.
graveyard. She's like, I just want to say that I love this place, and this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened in my life. And I didn't feel it when I came in here, but I feel it now. You all love me.
She's like, and then she stands at the door and she's like, and I'm so proud of myself because you think I'm a threat, and that's why you got me out. I'm a threat. And it's
She's like,
like,
Chemo, I was going to take you as a final two. You were going to be my final two. Like, bitch, none of you were going to make it to the
no.
end.
Yeah, you were. And then I just wrote, leave the house in all
Yeah,
caps.
just
like,
get out.
leave the house. And then her
Chelsea
interview,
was saying that, I think in a joking way, but kind of a serious way. She's like, get out of the house.
she wasn't leaving. I'm
Yeah.
surprised the producers didn't say like, you need to go. But her interview,
Angela, move out the door.
yeah, Angela, please move to the seat at the exit interview. The exit interview with Julie was like, it was so painful for me to watch.
I'll be honest, I didn't watch it.
What?
I had enough of her, and I was like, I'll go back and watch it, but I turned it off right then. I was like, nope, I know she got out. I can't listen to her talk.
She's like, why do you think that you got out? That you got brought out? She's like, because I would have won this show. I would have won this show.
See, this
I'm
is
like,
why I turned
was
it
like,
off.
I don't
No,
know.
you wouldn't have.
What do you mean by that? You would have won the show. First of all, you wouldn't have won the show because you're sitting in the seat talking to Julie, so you wouldn't have won. But what do you mean you would have won if like you were in the final two and everybody voted for you? Yeah, no shit. That's how it works.
Yeah, you know how you would have won, Angela? If everyone in the house died of food poisoning. That's how you would have won.
It makes me so angry. Oh, I want to say this too about the thing that you were talking about, how like they're this pretending like the Ansley's taken over the world
Yeah.
kind of a thing, and how lame that was. It did remind me of something real that happened once while everybody was in this Big Brother house, and that's COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And they had to announce that there were to people that the world was shut down. And
I
there was
will
this
say,
thing
as we've been
happening.
watching this, I have gone back and watched on YouTube some clips, and I watched, I think it was 9/11. They did something with 9/11 and announced something happened. I watched the COVID. It's like the world has shut down, and they're like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Right.
They all thought it was a game or
Right.
something, and it's like, "Oh no, really? There is a pandemic, and millions are dying, and you're probably in the safest place in the world right now because you're quarantined off from everyone else."
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then and then there's clips too where like people's family members die. That's pretty rough.
Yeah. And I showed you the one.
Did you want when they thought that somebody in the house died?
Oh, yeah. I showed you that one.
Yes.
It was Celebrity Big Brother in UK. And it's when David Bowie died, and his ex-wife was one of the celebrities.
Oh my God, that's such a.
And she told one of the other guests, I can't remember who it was, that David died,
Was it-
meaning David Bowie. It was the I Love New York show
Yeah.
on VH1.
Yeah.
She was in the house. And she's like, David died, meaning my ex-husband, David Bowie. But also in the house was David Guest, who was
Yes.
Liza Minnelli's ex-husband. She thought it was her, and she lost it.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God.
and then she thought she was lying to her on
Yeah.
purpose. It was such
It's such a good clip. If you have YouTube and 5 minutes, go watch it. It is hilarious.
All right, so we're
So we're in the Sunday's episode 34.
So this is another classic game that's sort of they have to do things with like tweezers and little pieces. They have to put something together.
Oh, so obnoxious. Before that, I do want to say something. I know Mackenzie won't hear this until the show's done. But girl, you are being total fatal attraction by Chelsea. Like, she's like, I'm your best friend and I'm here, then we're going to be the final two. She's trying to get you on the ropes so that she can kill you and have Cam all to herself.
Yeah, I have not.
And I can't believe she can't see it.
Right. And she thinks that, and Chelsea, but Chelsea even said in the diary room, but Chelsea is a diary room liar.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chelsea, but you have lied to us in the diary room because we've seen different things. Like, we saw you tell Rabina to put Chelsea, or to go after Mackenzie.
Yeah.
And then you denied it to us, which is like gameplay that I hate.
I didn't do that.
Yeah,
Girl,
you
you
did.
can lie to them, but we are Big Brother. We see everything.
Yes. You can't lie. We're like Ansley without all the power.
Yeah.
So
And without all the aggression and
so
anger.
I mean, so for Mackenzie, I guess I get it, like, because Mackenzie was even kind of like, well, I got to trust somebody, so I'm going
Yeah.
to trust her, which we're all like, no.
Now, the only thing Mackenzie has going for her, even because the 4 who are currently in the house, 2 of them will backstab you right away if it betters their game. That's Chelsea and Chemo. The other 2 are Rabina and Cam, who have a conversation that they are incapable of winning anything.
Yeah.
They even have a talk. They're like, we've never won HOH. One of us should probably try to win it. They are like the most non-threatening people in the house right now. But
Yeah.
Mackenzie has it going for her that she can win shit.
Right, but when you talk about winning the game, I think that it right now it goes to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Because even though Mackenzie's winning, she's not winning the game. She's winning
Yeah.
competitions. But
I
clearly,
think everyone
Chelsea
in the
is
jury
control.
house right now, except, Leah's obviously, she's pissed. She's not going to vote for Mackenzie if those 2 in the final 2. I feel like Angela would go Mackenzie because she doesn't like Chelsea. Who else is in the house? Quinn. He's going to vote Mackenzie.
I think that what they do when they get in there and they have a discussion about it is they tend to go for the person who's played the best game.
Yeah.
But then you've got to think, like, do they think social or do
Yeah,
they
it's
think
what
competition?
their definition of a good
right,
game is.
And they tend to put their hard feelings aside and
Yeah.
vote for the person, even if it's like somebody
Right now, as it
backstabbing.
stands, Mackenzie deserves to win out of those 5.
See, I think Chelsea does, because even though Mackenzie wins the comps, Chelsea makes the game because she makes Mackenzie do what she wants. And so it's not like Mackenzie may have won head of household a couple of times, but she certainly was never the head of household. And
Yeah.
that's where I would think Chelsea. Chelsea. But anyway, so they're building these. They have to build this card, right?
Yeah,
They have
little
to,
key card.
They have to build a key card to unlock a box or something that Ansley wants them to do. And it's I always want to like test this. I want to build a little thing and see how I would do with it, because I don't know if my hand's steady enough or not, but it looks super difficult.
Yeah.
So they have little huge tweezers, little pieces, and they can't, like, they're not doing it right in front of them. They have to put their arms around them and build it. And it's very difficult. But in the end,
Mackenzie
Mackenzie
wins.
pulls out another win.
Another HOH. Mackenzie wants her and Chelsea to be the final 2. And Chelsea tells Mackenzie, that's what I want. But I don't know if that's true.
I don't think it's true on either of their parts. Because
Yeah.
here's the deal. You want to take the loser to the final 2.
They both
That's
wanna
Cam.
take Cam.
Yeah, you take
Yeah.
Cam to the final 2, because if he hasn't won anything and ends up there, then he ends up there as a person.
Yeah. I think if Mackenzie or Chelsea end up with any of the other 3, they win.
Yeah.
They're the winners.
But I think that this is how it's hard to know what you would do with staring at $750,000, but I would walk into this game thinking I want to beat the best. I would take those 2. Like, if it were me, it would be Chelsea and Mackenzie, and made the best battle it out. I would be so annoyed if Chelsea took Cam because he didn't win anything and she thought that would be an easy win. I wouldn't vote for her, because I would say you took the easy way out. You should have.
Yeah, I haven't watched past seasons, but if this cast has taught me anything, they're all kind of stupid. So I think they're just going to go for whoever Chelsea told them to go for.
Yeah. Now, can I just point this out real quick, though?
Yeah.
We don't go too much into it, but it ain't right. Y'all ain't right going about Chemo's eating.
Oh, leave
Y'all-
that boy alone.
y'all-
Let him eat.
Y'all did him wrong. I'll say that first. You did him wrong by playing all those clips of him eating. But second of all, I would beg people to vote me out of the house harder than Kenny did if I had to live in a house with somebody that ate that loud.
Yeah. I mean, that whole montage felt very homophobic. I'm just saying.
I would and then I would constantly like carry wet wipes with me and like give them to him.
Yeah.
Like watching somebody lick their fingers and then touch things in a house that I have to touch would make me like.
Yeah.
But then hearing this and the slurping, I can't hear people eat. It makes me crazy.
Yeah. So they announced that the Have Not Room is done.
That was cute.
This episode, because they're down to the 5. This episode felt like a lot of filler, and it's like, dude, can we just cut this down to 30-minute episodes now? Because I don't need to see all this shit you 5 are doing.
You wait until it gets down to the final 3.
Oh God.
Holy shit. There's an entire episode that's so fakely put together, and they're just the 3 of them sitting around the table and being like, oh my God, do you know what's so funny? Do you remember
when?
this? And then it
And
cuts back and it shows them
It's one of the old sitcom flashback episodes.
but
It's a
not
filler
but not
episode.
as interesting. It's terrible.
God. So Rabina goes to Mackenzie because she knows the writing's on the wall. It's going to be Chemo and Rabina
Look.
that go up. So Rabina's
You got to go to the basics of the recipe.
So she goes to Mackenzie and is basically like, hey, first off, wouldn't it be cool if the final 3 were all girls? Just something to think about. Also, do you know that Chelsea told me that if I got HOH, I should put you up? I just want you to know. And then Mackenzie's like, oh, did she? Well, now I'm going to have to rethink things. And she goes and talks to Chelsea, and Chelsea's like, nah, I never said that. And she's like, you're right. You probably didn't say that. Like, when things like this happen, I'm like, Mackenzie, come on, pull your head out of your ass.
Because she did.
Yeah, because she did. They cut to the clip where she said it, and then they cut to Mackenzie, and she's like, I trust you, Chelsea.
Yeah, when Mackenzie doesn't win,
Yeah.
she's gonna look back on that scene, and like she's gonna say what she said. They're gonna play the clip, and then she's gonna be like, ugh.
Yeah. So no surprise, Mackenzie puts up Chemo and Rabina. And that's how we ended Sunday's show. So we'll
somebody
go
probably cried.
into we'll go
No
into,
show on Wednesday, but
no
2
show on Wednesday,
hour
but
on
a double
Thursday.
episode on Thursday. Yeah. I don't know what's happening on Wednesday. Tuesday's the vice president
Yes.
debate. So maybe they're going to talk about it on
You're gonna
Wednesday.
watch that live.
Yeah, probably.
I just feel like it's gonna look like some snarky bro yelling at at America's Dad.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be hard to watch.
It's going to be annoying, but I've got to watch it. Just gotta.
Can't be any more annoying than Angela's exit interview.
Anyway,
All right.
so we'll see where it goes, and yeah. So we didn't watch any more. We didn't do any movies or other TV shows,
No,
but we
it was
did.
Outfest.
Yes, it was.
The Orlando Fringe put on its first Outfest, which is
Yes.
all gay
all
Fringe shows.
LGBTQ focused shows. Which they even comment there. They were like, we know that there's that sounds a little weird because regular Fringe is already pretty gay.
Yeah.
But this is like super gay.
Yeah, well, it's all queer content.
All queer.
So there were 7 shows, and I think I saw 4.
Yes,
of the
and
7,
I was able to see 3.
And you saw 3 of them.
The problem is it was during a very busy weekend. It was when they had the Pride and Business Awards. So we were going to try to see all the shows, and we weren't able to get them all in.
We did what we could.
But
So shout out to all the ones that,
in honor of the shows, do you want to go alphabetically?
if you want to.
So we'll
or
start-
let's save that one for last.
You want to save that one for last?
Yeah.
Okay, because
There's
the
a
list I have,
reason.
it's an alphabetical list, so I don't remember what order the shows went in.
I just put I have them in the order we saw them. The first one
okay.
we saw was Just Be, which is a cabaret style one man show of Billy Mick.
With Billy Mick, yeah. I'm sure if you've seen any of the brunches at Jack and Honey's, he's there a lot. When House on Church was open, he used to perform there every weekend. So he's a local musician.
And if you haven't seen him, then I will describe to you what this is, and you'll feel like you have.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So picture male Cher
He does have a Cher bravado.
dressed by Elton John.
I don't even know what bravado means. I know it's a music word. Did I use it right?
I don't know. Did you?
Did I use that
I don't
right?
know, because I was thinking
either.
vibrato.
Cher vibrato? Did that work?
Vibrato is a thing.
Is a Cher tone?
But I don't know if bravado is.
I don't know what the music words are.
I don't either. But so dressed by Elton John and choreographed by Debbie Gibson and Boy George. I think that is the most accurate description of the show.
Yeah.
Anything you would like to say?
No, I know Billy. I've known him for a little bit, and there were things I learned because he talks about in between the songs. He talks about his life, and I learned a lot of things about him that I didn't know.
A lot of
and
things.
He's had a lot of interesting things happen to him in life. He's had a lot of tragedies that have happened that he's had to overcome, and I thought it was I thought he did a great job telling his stories.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate how vulnerable his show is. And it was really intriguing, and I totally gained a new respect for him because I learned so much about him that I didn't know.
That man has a lot of jackets.
He does.
That's a lot of jackets.
He does. I think that what I wish is that there was some sort of program. I think that's about every Friends show. I just wish there was some sort of program so that you could like see who is in them. And I mean, although this is a one-man show, so we know who is in it. But I would have liked
Billy Mick was in it.
I would have liked the set list, so I could see like, oh, I like this song or I like that song.
Yeah.
And then I could go look them up.
The problem is, as we're sitting in the theater, we're trying to take notes, and it's dark in there, so you kind of have your pen and you're jotting things down, and you can't really tell what you're writing, and then you look at it and you're like, what was I trying to say there?
So and then if there was any critiques, there's just two little tiny ones.
Sure.
He walked around that stage a lot.
Yeah.
Like it was like a lot of movement, and it was just kind of like, plant yourself every now and then, tell your story, move around. And I thought it like there were every time that he would mention like, oh, I had this job, I was terrible at it. And then I did this and I was terrible at it. And I was like, no. You're good. Celebrate the good. That's what we're here for. We're here to watch you thrive. So, but all in all, I enjoyed it.
And they did great. What did we watch? We watched the religious one, right?
Then we watched Revelations.
Revelations.
And then after Revelations.
So this one was about a religious school, and this girl, her mother enlists her into this school, and she doesn't get along with the girls because they're pick on her, but they have secrets, and the priest has secrets, and the other priest has secrets. There's so many secrets.
They all had so many secrets.
Yeah.
And they also kept those secrets secret from us.
Yes.
So it was a very confusing show.
I'll read you the synopsis, and you tell me if this sounds about on point with what we saw.
Okay.
A Latin student joins Saint Diphena's school for the girls. Her classmate and teachers are forced to confront their own biases and acknowledge their past of harm for marginalized individuals. Is that what you watched?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, in a roundabout way, but there was some weird like time travel in it.
Yes, there was a time jump.
There was a time jump that didn't. So the line where they confront their past mistakes. Yeah, you don't until like the last minute of the show, you don't realize that there was a time jump. So what I wonder about the show, and again, it's sort of like I will say, and always when we talk about shows, I have the utmost respect for people who are passionate about theater and get on stage and have the guts to do it, and I think it's amazing, and so good for you. But at this show in particular, I'm wondering if it was like a 3-act play that they cut down to 1 hour.
It did feel like a lot got left out of it.
Yeah, it felt like there were some things. So I don't know if it was locally written and it was for this. I don't know. And I got the sense that there were just like that there was a sentence in one thing where it's like, it alluded to this whole other subplot that we had heard nothing about and then didn't anymore later. And I just thought, that they just cut all that out except for that one line, which is kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
In fact, and then like the only thing that made sense was that the one priest killed the other one.
Yes.
That like
there was a murder.
Yeah. Because I thought from the beginning of the show, when I saw this one character come out on stage, I said that character is going to murder somebody before the show is over. And it is exactly what happened.
And he did. The nun looked very familiar, but I don't know where I know her from.
No.
Not like I've seen her in other things, but like I feel like I know her. Like we've hung out or something, because the face looks very familiar. Yeah. But I don't know who. But so if you played the nun and you know who I am so sorry.
You know what? I do have. I say I wish that there were programs. They did have a program, and it's sitting on my desk. So
I'll
did
tell
have
you
a program,
didn't
afterwards.
They? Yes. So that was a show.
Happened.
We watched that one. And then we went and saw the Center Orlando presents a big gay variety show.
Yeah, and it was definitely a variety show.
And it definitely
had
was gay.
comedian Lee Cohen.
Well, it was hosted by, P. Sparkle.
Who, by the way, is a delightful host. A delightful host of a show.
Something we should keep in mind next Wave Awards.
Yeah, I think so. I'll say there was a little bit of, the kind of host that P. Sparkle is, there's a lot of audience interaction, and I'm thankful that every vibe I put out, P. Sparkle picked up on and said, don't talk to this guy. He doesn't want to be talked to. Because audience participation.
You don't like him.
He did a great job. So he did a great job. And so then there was Lee Cohen.
Lee Cohen came out and did their stand-up, which I love Lee. Delight.
It is so nice to go. It's difficult when you have a show that has a comedian in it, because if the comedian bombs, it kills the show.
Yeah, it brings the whole vibe
brings
down.
it all down. But Lee is just great.
Yeah.
And Lee gets out there with this personality that even if their joke doesn't land, you like Lee.
Yeah.
And so you're happy.
Very, very charming, very cutesy, very demure.
Yeah. And then there was then they had drag.
Yes. Sorry, that was for Caitlin. She loves that.
Was Demure one of the vampire movies?
That's the keyword.
So
then drag performance.
Yes.
By
Ginger Beer.
By Ginger Beer.
Which I like the name because I really like the drink.
That was a good drink. It was a good drink.
Yeah. And then there was Maya Monet, who sang a couple of songs.
Yes. Maya, I apologize. I don't remember the name of the guitarist, but they're a duet. No. And
they have the name of a band,
Yeah,
too.
they're the name of... Well, I think they're the band. I think it's the duet is the band name. They have other band members who will play, but that's the band.
Oh, okay.
And they sang 3 or 4 songs. They did a sing song at the end. And it was great. It was good.
Yeah. I got to tell you, honestly...
I love Maya.
I honestly... Totally serious. I could watch an entire show of Maya singing.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
It's fun. It's very Lilith Fair, folksy kind of stuff, and I really dig it.
And even there was a little twink audio guy couldn't figure out why the guitar wasn't playing.
You know what? I bet that was part of the show. I thought that was charming. The little twink sound guy kept running down. He's like, I can't fix it. And then Maya leaned over and said, is your guitar on? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And switched it on. It was hilarious.
Yeah, because it went on for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it went a little long.
Yeah. And
if Maya's listening, I'd cut that part of the show down a little bit.
Yeah.
Have him find out his guitar's not on a little earlier.
But a message to Twink Audio guy. We could always use some audio help.
Yeah. And he's got good sprinting. He was up and down those stairs pretty quickly checking those chords. Yeah. Got good hair. He had good hair.
Yeah, he did.
Big fro.
Yeah. He was good
anyway, after Maya, there was Ginger Beer again. Is that when Ginger came out? Ginger did
come out again. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
I think that's all
that was it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good show.
My notes are
I feel
here,
like
and they're not
I feel like
well
everybody
written.
involved in the show. See, I didn't know what the show was going to be, so I didn't know if they were going to pull talent from. Oh no, the gay chorus.
Oh, that's right. The gay chorus came out and did a nice little diva set.
Yes.
And they were all dressed fun and
and
flirty.
And I didn't know who they were going to pick, but it seems like a lot of people that are involved in it are involved in the board of the center.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh, they got a good talent pool going on there. So that was good.
Yeah. So it was the center sponsored variety show, but apparently they pulled from their board and staff and stuff.
Yeah.
So that very talented group. And that was it for me.
That was it for you.
Because I didn't make it the next day, but you did go see another show.
I saw Alphabet Soup, an A to Z guide to the LGBTQIA+.
Yes. And as I recall, of all the shows, this is the only one that has played before. I think this one played at the Winter Fringe last year.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
It was delightful. It really is. That's why I want to talk about last. I just want to end on this wins Outfest. Now there's 3 shows we didn't see, and I'm sure that Story Hour with adult story with
Addison Taylor
was probably hilarious.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to get to that.
And we missed Oddball, which was Davey Oddity's show. And Bye, the true story of NSYNC. No, I'm sorry. It's It's about bisexual and pansexual. Yeah, bisexual and pansexual perspectives.
Yeah. But from what we saw, I mean, this was hands down. This was a delightful
how
professional
do you go wrong
show.
with puppets? You can't.
But they did the puppets well. I mean, you find that you're looking at the puppets while they're doing the speech. So the whole premise of the show, right, is that there's this puppet that when he gets out of school, he goes to this diner and hangs out until his dad can come pick him up, and he knows the wait staff there and all this kind of stuff. And so, but he gets there and he's like upset, and he says, the kids called me queer and I don't know what that means. So then they're like the waiters, and it's sort of like it's a gay diner, right? Like a Hamburger Mary's kind of a
Like a
setup.
gay Sesame Street.
Yeah. And so they're like, as it's very, I don't want to use the W word. So I just want to say that it's very like, it's smartly inclusive. It's like he says there's a problem, like he was called queer, and they're like, okay, and he goes, what does that mean? And they say, well, we'd love to tell you, but first we have to ask for permission from your father. So they call the father and they say, hey, somebody called him queer.
That W word.
Yeah, that W word. And it's like, oh, okay, so let's he says, that's fine, I'm on my way, and then you can teach me too. And so then it breaks into this whole thing of questions about what does this mean, what does that mean, and then they're trying to explain to him, and then they like say the word sexual, and then the censor pops up and is like, you can't talk about sex to children, and they're like, but we're not. And then it's this really endearing way of explaining what all the letters mean in a way that is very understandable and is designed. I mean, it's sort of for kids, but it's also entertaining for adults. Like, we were actually really enjoying it, and the singing was good, the script was good. People knew where to stand. They knew, I appreciate those things. Like, if you talk about Girl from the North Country. Mm-hmm. I mean, but how the script was bad, but the performances were the performers were good, so it makes it not hard to watch. And this was great. They did a really good job.
Yeah. It looked like a good show. Sorry I missed it. But I'm sure it'll be back. And so will we next week. But before we do you know what the little game was?
I do, but you have to tell me I didn't know that I caught all of them. I think I caught 3 of them.
There's 4 Twilight books. So I said Twilight, talking about coming out of the theater. I talked about New Moon, talking about the asteroid. I talked about Eclipse. Thank you, Bonnie Tyler. And I talked about Breaking Dawn when I was talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and the bridge was breaking. Dawn almost fell off.
That's the one I missed.
And I can't believe you haven't watched Buffy. Breaking Dawn. Zing.
That was a good one. That was a clever one.
Thank you.
Breaking Dawn's a clever one. So if you got that right, give yourself $10. You win.
Yes.
If you
and then
guessed
come
it.
here and share it with me. And I'll take you for coffee. So
next week we're going to cover Big
we
Brother.
might be talking about the fate of chemo.
Oh, right.
And there's also, I think we're going to talk about the new documentary on Netflix, Will and Harper, which is the new documentary on Netflix about Will Ferrell and his friend Harper, who transitioned. They worked on SNL together, and they decided to take a road trip. Something else, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm excited, is I was reading some stuff about it, and they because Kristen Wiig worked on SNL with them.
She wrote a song.
So she wrote a song for it, but they call her during the film, and they're like, hey, we want you to write a theme song for this movie as a joke. So throughout the course of the movie, I guess they check in, and they're like, how's that song coming? And she's like, ha, ha, ha. And then by the end of their road trip, she called him and said, I've got your song. And then she played the song for them, and they fucking loved it.
Oh, that's great.
I can't wait to watch it. Sounds like it's going to be a good film.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah. But until then, the cork is back in the bottle.